Welcome to the Luxe Leap, where bold women turn ambition into action. I'm your host, Reland Logan, and together we'll explore the big moves, smart strategies, and extraordinary branding behind unstoppable businesses. So I have a question. What if your business wasn't just a machine to run, but an ecosystem designed to reflect you, support you, and scale with soul? Inga is the founder of Vision Alchemist, a brand strategist and business architect who helps solopreneurs and founders transform chaotic, hard-to-run businesses into clear, aligned, and scalable ecosystems. Known for her signature mix of creative direction, sharp strategy, and intuitive insight, Inga guides her clients through the deep work of uncovering their brand DNA, the blueprint that shapes their messaging, their client experience, and their visibility in the market. Her signature business architecture process helps founders articulate who they are, what they stand for, and how to build a business that actually works for them without the burnout or identity loss. So if you're craving structure and soul, clarity and expansion, this conversation is your invitation. Please welcome the visionary turning brand chaos into business clarity, Inga. Hi, Inga. How are you?
Good. I'm stoked to be here. How are you?
Oh, it's early my time, afternoon your time, so rolling out of
Yeah.
bed.
Yeah.
As per usual with my friends across the pond. Where are you now?
I'm in Portugal, and it's just dawning. I think it's like past 5 p.m. now. I spent a day on the beach.
Oh my
So
goodness. Everybody, she lives the best life. She's like always places in the world. So one has to
yeah.
ask. But let's figure out how she got there. So what inspired your Luxe Leap, that bold move that started your journey from ordinary to extraordinary?
Yeah. Well, it kind of like ties back to the story. I'm like always in different places. Like, quite literally, like this year I lived in 7 different countries. So the bold leap, I think one word that fits in here is the freedom. I call it the past life. I used to work in an office in London, and then I ended up 6 years ago in Bali, and I didn't want to leave, but I had to leave if I wanted to keep my job. So I had to figure out, how can I live the life of freedom living in Bali and still making, supporting myself. So that was the big leap of leaving my job, figuring out how to start a business. So essentially, I never really even like intentionally wanted to start a business. It was more about like, how can I live the surf, the sun, the summer life?
You're like, how can I stay here and never go back? Well,
Yeah, or just be free.
yes. Well, it's funny because you were in England last time we spoke, weren't you?
Yeah, I was there
Yeah.
this summer for 2 months. Yeah.
Yeah, seeing fam and all that jazz. So
Yep.
when you know, I love the idea of freedom, and you're like, listen, there's a beach here, it rains there, we're staying. So, how did your personal story influence the brand that you built, in addition to that freedom?
So I think my personal brand is all about, and I think that's what people are called to me, is kind of like spiritual, surfy, summery vibes. And that's like really like the influencing everything I'm doing. Like literally every single message that I put out there is like everything that I do is to live the lifestyle. So kind of like the lifestyle is at the center of it. And then everything else is to support that lifestyle. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. No, I'm obsessed because for me, like lifestyle just means being a mom. And I'm really good at it. But
Yeah.
if I didn't have Gray, who can hear me right now, so I still love you, honey. I would be right there with you. Anywhere that has a beach, anywhere that's warm. Um, it's just a beautiful place to be. And I mean, I grew up on beaches, so I do miss it greatly. But
Mm.
when you think back, in the last few years that you've been in business, what was that moment you realized your brand had momentum or that people really got it?
I'm thinking this was actually not from people's side, but from my side. I initially started as a brand designer in terms of visual identity. So I used to like work loads on like visual identities. This is the biggest part of my business at the start. And then at some level, I realized that people were coming into my orbit and thinking that they have a problem with visual identity. And once I start asking questions, digging in, they appear to have. So they would think they have problem A, and I was like, you have problem B. So we need to solve that first before you move into visual identity. And then my, again, past life experience, I used to work as a UX designer, UX and UI designer, building applications for startups in London. And that has given me ability to kind of zoom out and see anyone's business like from a holistic perspective, like architecture. So when I started working with people, I realized that they don't need visual identity, especially people who are starting off, but they need structure, system, like the whole ecosystem. And I think it kind of accidentally happened that one of my very first clients just asked me like, how am I like structuring and doing all of these things while still, I work 16 hours a week. I don't work very much. That's again the lifestyle part. And then I kind of started to talk to him about it. And he was like, why don't you put it together in a package? And then I realized there's a gap, not just like in visual identity, but also like, how can I almost create an incubator, which is like the foundations of business. That's literally what it is. And it includes the visual part, but also the foundations, the structure. So we tested it with him, and then I just rolled with it, and I'm still doing it.
Well, I super appreciate that. I don't know that we ever talked about the fact that my business originally was a social media agency. And I would get frustrated because people would come and they have no idea what they're doing. They had no branding, and branding from the position of like a message, a soul, like all the things, not just visual. And so I'd ask for things so I could be good at what I said I was doing. And they didn't have it. So that's actually what triggered me switching to doing this. But to your point, I've always felt systems should be a part of this conversation. I believe that brand is where operations, finance, and marketing intersect. And when you think about how those things come together, and the fact that you're like, no, everybody, like you need box A before we can move on to B. I find a lot of folks when they come to us at first, they're going backwards in a sense because they think branding is what they experience. What they don't know is that what they're experiencing is everything that you and I do first for folks. Though you do more of like the getting things started. I definitely do not handle that part. But it's very interesting to watch how people interact with brand in general, and still I think we're getting better as a collective whole, but still misunderstand the term for what it is. So so when you think about how all those pieces came together, and I'm very interested to hear your answer to this, how do you describe your unique energy or essence of your brand in one sentence as it pertains to the systems plus the brand?
Yeah, in one sentence. So I don't know. The first things that come to mind, if I don't go by script, is kind of like spiritually techie architecture that brings together, business systems and visual identities and going from like chaos into clarity. Yeah, that's kind of like disconnected one sentence.
I love it. I didn't want a connected sentence, but I so love the fact that you added the spirituality piece to it, because that is definitely how I perceive you. So how does that piece come into the work that you do?
Actually, this is the biggest piece. While I kind of, from the outside, it might look like I do a lot of structure and a lot of like business architecture, like foundation laying, but behind the scenes, this is like what drives me to have businesses so I can continue developing my spiritual practice, which for me literally means study the self, know thyself. Like
Yeah.
all I'm doing, I'm this eternal student. And when I work with clients, it's like a piece that doesn't stay at home. It always comes with me because we are human beings. We interact with each other. There are always different things that come into play. And we are all space holders. So someone comes in with like, they grandmas and like children. And like when you're building anything in their business, that's all like one part of the system. Sometimes you're holding a space for someone to let emotions come out. And it often happens like that. So spirituality never stays home. It's
I
always with you.
I love it. And I love that you see everybody as a whole human, not just like this one container that we're working in, but as as one human and accept and make space for that. It's a beautiful thing. So I want you to reflect back on this past year. I mean, 'tis the season and all that jazz, but for anybody listening, it's probably springtime. What decision or strategy most contributed to your growth this past year?
Definitely systems, because when I started, like most people, I was like probably like most people all over the place. Every day I would turn up and kind of decide what I'm going to be doing. Hey, I'm writing a post here, I'm doing this and that. So implementing like a really solid, doesn't have to be complicated, but simple system strategy, like a funnel, and just following through. So it becomes like daily actions, like ingrained actions that you're doing to move the needle, has been by far the best thing for me, you know. Um,
Yeah.
not like starting new things on daily basis and figuring out in the morning, what am I doing today? But having a plan. Because people often think that, especially in spiritual circles, people think that this is very rigid, that this is
Yeah.
like a very masculine way to be. But the paradox here is the freedom needs borders. When you have the borders, when you have the framework, you can flow from within. That's the flow. And yeah, so I would say systems and simple process to follow through. And any strategy needs to be tested. Nothing really works overnight. Like that's just like a hype. So if you go with a funnel or a strategy, I would suggest test it for like 2-3 months, see if it works. And then if it doesn't, then you can adjust and pivot. But, don't switch things up, because that's another thing what a lot of people do, especially when it comes to LinkedIn and, like, for example, banners. There are people who switch banners every week. And that's like, in terms of branding, not very good, because you're sending the wrong message. Like if you are not
Mhm.
sure, if you keep changing what's your name, your tagline, that's like you're not sure who you are. How am I trusting you? Like how can I trust you? So clarity, foundation, structure, and stick with it.
Please stick with it, everyone. I can't tell you how many times somebody has reached out to me and they're like, it didn't work. And I go, well, did you try this and this in it? Well, no. And how long did you do it for? One time. Okay, well, I promise you it wasn't going to work. Like if I tell you to flip a
Yeah,
penny and it has to be heads, we got a 50-50 chance here, folks. So you got to keep
yeah,
flipping it.
yeah. It's
Gotta
like,
love
oh, I
people.
sent one DM. It didn't
Yes.
work.
And they told me no. Okay. Like,
Yeah.
there's a
Okay.
billion people on LinkedIn, everyone.
Yeah.
So if you had 1% of that, that's what, 10K? And if 1% of that bought from you, there's 1,000 people right there, everyone. You'll be all right.
Yeah. Just keep going.
Nothing like math in the morning. So, uh, when you think about visibility, like moving from strategy to visibility, what has been the hardest part and what has finally worked?
Oh, it's changing a lot. Like I'm all full in on LinkedIn, and LinkedIn in this past year has changed so much.
Oh,
So
yeah.
the visibility has been decreased. So I used to rely quite a lot on my posts, which used to get like
Hmm.
hundreds of likes. Now it's gone, like I would say, like 1/8 of what it used to be. What works visibility wise is actually speaking directly to people. That works with me.
I
Just
love it.
being really direct, following up. It's kind of a lot of, like, again, spiritual mindset work, like getting over your own self, how, like, not to be scared to speak to people, to start opening up these conversations. But I think, at least for me, that's what moves the needle, is talking to people rather than posting and hoping that something's going to happen, because then you're kind of giving away your power, because you
Yeah.
are letting things happen on the outside. Whereas if you are taking proactive action, reaching out to people, speaking to people, that's visibility for me. Obviously, you still need to, like, keep your appearance, using posts and using engagement strategies. But I think directly speaking to people has been the best for me.
I I love that you are talking about just being proactive and making it happen because you're right. There has been like a decrease in visibility. I've I've had like weird spikes and then like back to nothing. And if I'm not mistaken, both of us have a pretty decent following as far as numbers go. So
Hmm.
it as I'm over like I'm just a little bit behind you. So
Hmm.
It is very interesting that, two women who have numbers a lot of people would like to have, but it it has been like cricket. So what is it? They say that your
Hmm.
impression should be what, 5 times the amount of followers you have. That would be nice. There's been days where it's been
Yeah,
like 68 for me, and I'm like,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So it's definitely not a reliable strategy. And I always tell folks, I'm like, you're not really posting to get new clients per se. Like there has to be a level of outreach. You are posting
Mhm.
for, let's say you told somebody like, oh, hey, Raylan is amazing, you should go work with her, or vice versa. We post so that person can go stalk us to see if there's credibility to be had. And
Mhm.
I I have found it really interesting. I remember when Instagram went through this, obviously, like LinkedIn is figuring out getting their little sea legs in the land of
Yeah,
social media. But
yeah.
it has been quite interesting, the push and pull of all of us being their test dummies.
Yeah, yeah. But like so when I used to have like literally if you look back like a year back, it was like hundreds of comments on my posts. I
Yeah.
had less clients that I have now, where I have like some days 5 likes. So it just goes to show like for me, creating a post is kind of like a tick box. I do it and I still enjoy writing, but it's taking such a small percentage of my day-to-day life
Yeah.
that it's just out there, it's doing its thing, but that's not what moves the needle in terms of clients. Like I'm taking full responsibility how I bring in clients. And on visibility point, actually, another thing that I could add is what has worked for me is being really comfortable speaking about what you do and what you're passionate about everywhere outside, not just on LinkedIn. Like the amounts of times that I've signed clients, like later on, when I'm on the street in a playground with my nieces, like someone would be, hey, what do you do? Like in a fruit market, I signed a client and, he'll say, hey, what do you do? And so it's like, talk about it. Talk about what you do, what you're passionate about. And hopefully, if you're running your own business, you are passionate about what you do. So,
It's true though. Like we have to realize that it is a part of your identity. It's not separate anymore. It's kind of like being spiritual. Like it's not separate. Like it's what you chose to do.
yeah,
Could you stop? Sure, but it'll always be a part of you. And
yeah, yeah.
it was so funny. Somebody had asked the question of me yesterday where I was like, it was a journaling topic, but it was like, where did you get your last 10 clients from? And I was like, well, not one specific place. Like it's been very just different. Like I've gotten clients from the podcast. I've gotten clients from friends. I like my most recent client is a friend. I got another one who just like happened across my freebie and just like really fast booked.
Mm.
It's having the ability, to your point, of like being there in these places and intentional about what it is that you do. The confusion will never ever, if you're wishy-washy, it's a wrap.
Yeah, yeah. And I think a simple exercise that I say to my clients, or when we start working together, what we do is map out like all of the different touch points where you could potentially get your clients. If it's networking offline, great, amazing. It's not
Yeah.
for me, but it might be for someone else. If you're going to like a book reading club, maybe it's somewhere there. Maybe it's like, so just understanding that there's so many actually ways where you can like say, hey, I'm doing this, yeah, referrals, networking, socials, it's just like mapping it out that there are all of these options and figuring out which ones speak to you the most. Yeah.
I'm obsessed.
The weirdest one, sorry, the weirdest one for me is I was sitting on the surfboard and I have a girl next to me, and this was in Sri Lanka this year. And so obviously we talk about, she was like, hey, do you live in Sri Lanka? And I was like, no, I'm like passing through for a couple of months. She's like, for a couple of months, I'm here on holiday for like 10 days. And she was like, how can you do this for a couple of months? So the stories, I'm like, this is what I do. And then she's like, oh, I'm like content writer. I'm like, great, this is what you need to do. But she works for a company. And so that's like the Instagram exchange moment. And that's, like later on, you take it online and you speak. But basically, that's a great example of how you can sign a client. while sitting on a surfboard
In the middle of the ocean.
in the middle of the ocean with the turtles swimming around. Yeah.
That's incredible. Oh my gosh, I wish I was an artist. I would totally sketch that. I just saw it in my head of like two people talking on surfboards with turtles. I love sea
Yeah.
turtles. Such a sorry
Yeah.
everybody, just don't mind me as I find a rabbit hole about sea turtles. I really do love them. And I
Yeah.
love when I get to see them in the wild. Like such peaceful, wise
Oh,
creatures as
yeah.
they
Yeah.
float through with these heavy shells. Like it's incredible.
There's something so calming about it. Just
Yes.
like, and especially when you're on the water, and sometimes the energy can be a little bit intense with like guys competing who's going to take the wave. And then you see this like that, and he's just like in his own environment. There's no rush in the world,
Chill.
you know, it kind of instantly brings you down.
They are. They're just the best. I don't know. Maybe we're titling this "Be as Calm as a Sea Turtle." Just joking. That's not what we're going to title this, but
Yeah.
it has potential. Uh, so, Inga, how do you differentiate yourself from others in your space without feeling performative?
I think my biggest, the fancy word USB is that I have a UX background. So I would say like I'm very techie, like very, I understand tech quite well because I used to build systems behind, and now these
Yeah.
systems are translated into business systems, slightly different. But I bring in this spiritual techie uh, visual identity mix, which is kind of rare. I actually haven't found anyone who's doing exactly that kind of mix inside, and I cannot separate them. That was the
Yeah.
whole thing of me doing what I'm doing right now. Because when I was doing just identity, I couldn't not give you the suggestions on a system because it's part of me too. UX is always going to be that's like I did it professionally in for like 8-9 years, like building apps and websites and yeah. So that's kind of like the USB, the mix of spiritual, techie, visual.
I I love it. I know, and it's so fun when I think I can always tell when somebody truly understands what brand means because we have conversations like this one where we're like it is the person. Now, I don't do anything super spiritual, so I definitely do not I'm not in that space. But I oh my goodness, I wonder if I can find it on my phone. I had somebody comment in this like community I'm a part of web designers because sometimes I just need web designers, you know? Like
Hmm.
sometimes I have the time to do it, sometimes I don't. And
Hmm.
I prefer to use Show It as a platform. And this sweet, sweet lady was like, "Oh, I'm new. Should I offer branding with my website packages? I don't know. I'm not a designer." And I had to go in and be like, "Listen, brand isn't really just about design. Like that's like one little piece of what we do.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
bigger part is strategy and understanding where people are coming from and where we're going and why we're doing it and like what do people
Hmm.
feel, which is so
Yeah,
ambiguous." But
yeah,
it
yeah,
always lets me know who's new to this space because I'm like,
yeah,
it's not
yeah.
about
But
color.
this goes back to what you said earlier about collectively, hopefully we're changing this image, because I still get people who I would ask like, how does your brand feel? Or like, that's such a vague question even to ask from my side, but they would be like, no, I'm good. I have typeface and two color fonts, like two color. I'm like, okay, that's,
Great.
because yeah, exactly. It's not really a brand, brand is like, if you look at an iceberg, the color is such a tiny piece, and actually the designer only comes in. There's a brand designer and a designer. You build
Yes.
the brand first, and only then the designer comes in, and then it can flesh out any other channels like websites, flyers, Instagram looks, things like that, once the foundation is there.
Yep. And if we don't have that foundation, if we don't have the core of, to your point, the systems that move everything through the touch points with the clients, the ability to communicate, we have to build offers. Ooh, that's actually probably my differentiator is the ability to build cleaner offers for people. And
Mm.
like, how do we message around that? And then do our colors support that? You can't get away from visuals. I mean, the brain takes in visuals 60,000 times faster than it takes in the written
Yeah,
word.
Yeah.
But if you need
People
people
still
to
don't understand that.
know, and they go backwards every time. And I'm like,
Yeah,
your
yeah,
words don't match that picture. That's why
yeah.
people hate stock images.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because the biggest part, I think most of the people do actually not have this ability to see if something is good or bad for some reason.
Mhm.
That's totally my gift. Like I was born with it to see something. Sometimes I'm like, how can you not see that this doesn't go together? And it drives me absolutely insane. I cannot like leave that at home, you know? And that's like on daily basis, I can give you like 20-second like audits on how like the banners and the visual looks
Mhm.
on people's LinkedIn. It's just, and there was a client and she has an incredible package. We work together and she was like, no, but I don't think the visual identity is that important. I'm like, you're leaving on the table so many people because you have something so great, but I can't see past the door, which is like really DIY amateur style. And so the
Mhm.
people who are not sent via like referrals, like who like, okay, I can get past this like not so beautiful branding to get inside that. They won't even look. And especially the younger audiences today, which is the growing future, they are really, really visually driven, you know.
Yes.
So that front door really matters.
The front door matters so much. The idea, like, I always tell people, you can sit there and try to tell yourself all day long that people don't judge books by the cover. They sure do. That's why they pick it up. The only way they
Hmm.
might ignore that is if somebody told them about what happens inside the book.
Yeah,
People read
exactly.
with their eyes. It looks nasty.
Mhm.
I'm not touching it. So
Exactly. Yeah.
it's
That's a
the
good
same
analogy.
here.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah.
Gotta love them. But I also realize that when people say that they don't think it matters that much, that is also a limited mindset belief that needs to be a little untangled to
Mm-hmm.
understand. Like, I'm glad they have that much confidence in what they're selling. But at the same time, to your point, like, how many customers, how many dollars, how many insert currency here are you leaving on the table because somebody looked at yours and looked at somebody else's and decided that, well, clearly they take care of their brand, therefore I'm going to go with the prettier one first, because it's
Uh,
also perceived care.
yeah. Yeah. But so, like you and me, we are people who would see it probably. Like when you see something, you're like, this is wrong or this is right, into it. But there are literally like so many people who don't see that, like they have three colors and they totally clash with each other. They eat each other out, and people are unable to see that. And the worst that I see on LinkedIn happening is that they take advice from someone who has the same thing. No, but like my grandma and my cousin said that this looks okay, and I spoke with like 5 ICPs and they said that this looks good, and I'm like, are they the best ones to give you advice on
Yeah.
on like, yeah. So I'm like, no. But that's like the reality.
It
Yeah.
is the reality. And then what happens is, from a spiritual perspective, to bring it back to this, people can feel misalignment. They might not know what's wrong, but they can
Mm-hmm.
feel it.
Because it's subconscious. Yeah.
Mhm.
It's an immediate like, can I trust here or can I not? And like it's not conscious act. Like when someone sees something, that's why, yeah, like, I mean, yeah, sometimes it really, really drives me. I'm like, how can you not see it?
We're clearly nerding out about this because we
Yeah,
both are
yeah,
like,
totally.
listen, it's awful.
Yeah, but I'm actually, well, the good news, I'm putting together, I've been like waiting to do this for quite some time, or it's been on my list. I'm actually putting together like a little document where you can self-evaluate and understand which things
Yeah.
exactly you're doing wrong, specifically for LinkedIn. Because as I said, you can open up anyone's and I will take it apart, like to tell you how many places. It's just simple things like alignments, spacing, color clashes, mixing fonts, so much.
Oh
Yeah.
man, can we just like, if you're listening to this and you're like, whoa, do I have too many fonts? If you have more than three and they don't have assignments, yes, your answer is yes. Okay. Only folks like myself and Inga and others have the ability to be able to use like 20 and make it look good. And we wouldn't even do that.
Hmm.
So please stop.
Yeah.
Please stop.
I would even say if you don't know what you're doing, just pick one and just play with like caps and lower cases, bold and regular, but don't, yeah, mix up if you don't know
That's
what you're
even
doing.
better. Just bear
Yeah.
your weights. Oh, when I think of my brand, yeah, I only use two primarily, and then I have one that is like you can barely read it, so it's not for anything other than like making things pretty and very girly. But
Hmm.
I'm a good old-fashioned boring Montserrat girl,
Yeah,
and
but
I'll use
it doesn't mean like Montserrat is great. I mean, as long as it's readable, as long as it's mixed, like if you think about Apple, like it's just one symbol. How clean
yeah,
is that? And people think more is more. That's why
yeah.
going back to LinkedIn and banners, like cramming every single corner is filled. There's a thing called white space. It's for a
Please use it.
reason. It's for mental clarity. So there's space to breathe, so it's not cognitively overloading. But yeah, I think we should yeah.
Oh my
You go
goodness.
geeking.
I do these video audits, and one of the, I swear that's probably top 5 things that I say in these audits is it needs more space. Like
Yeah.
it needs to
Always.
breathe.
Yeah. Yeah, but
Oh,
again, this is subconscious process. When
mhm.
you have when you look at Apple computer, there's Apple, you feel calm, right?
Yes.
But when you cram in elements, icons, sparkles, colors, it's like, where do I look? It's chaos. It's so simple.
There's like no level of higher. I mean, Apple, even down to going into the store. So, like, if you think of their website has all the space, but when you go into the store, you've got long tables, everything's about the same
Hmm.
distance apart. So you can look at a computer without being on top of the person next to you. And there's
Hmm.
lots of space between these long tables. I was literally just
Yeah.
an Apple, clearly. But
Mm.
it's definitely like there's breathe room even in the physical spaces.
Oh
So
yeah, yeah.
it's oh man, I went on a rampage about Black Friday the other day and an email of me just saying like, I can't stand it. Like, I need space. So
Oh yeah, yeah. It's in your face right now.
it is in my face right now. I I I hate Black Friday. Okay, everybody, moving on. We're gonna remove ourselves from that energy of Black Friday before we all watch me spiral. But what conversations or messages do you want to be known for leading?
I actually quite like to be known as someone who is like different, and so I'd say like spirituality is probably the number one I want people to like recognize me by. Techie, um, empowering people, that's the one thing that I see people leaving. Like, I have quite fiery energy, so when I work with clients, when they leave the room, they're always like, I want to do this, I want to do this. I think they're coming for like strategy, but what they're actually coming is permission and that drive, because I give them a little bit of fire, and I want to be known by that. Like, she's like empowering,
Oh my
to
goodness.
like, I can do it, I believe in you, you know
I love
So
that.
there's like this is actually my non-conditional when working with people, but I feel it energetically. I can read the room quite well. And I need my non-conditional is your passion. Like, I need to feel that you are passionate and you want to do this thing. Because if it's just purely for, financial return, there is nothing for me to work with. Because the reason why I call my brand Vision Alchemist is because I'm translating something that's not tangible into tangible. And I need to work with the energy of like the passion. If it's not there, then I don't have much to work with.
You're like, listen, we've got to
Yeah.
have like some gasoline to light because if we don't, it's nothing will happen. It's like putting a match in a cup and taking away its
Yeah. Yeah.
oxygen.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Exactly.
so important. So when you think about lighting fires, how do you define success for your brand today, and how has it evolved since you began in Bali?
Success means that I have more free time, more time to do yoga, more time to go surf. That's definitely success. I can be whatever I feel called to be. That's definitely success. And evolving in business means like there's newness. For me, it's really important to constantly evolve. I cannot be doing, I don't know, if you're familiar with human design, but I'm a manifester. So I'm not really good at like doing the same thing over and over again, even though the program that I run currently, it's always changing. Like there's
Yeah.
always something new coming in. So that's success for me when I have a space to create new things. And obviously return on investment, but that's kind of like a sign that things are working, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have ambitious goals as in like growing the biggest empire. That's definitely not it. Like mine is boutique, because the most important thing for me is the lifestyle. Like I want to not work too much. I want to have like good life. And it's not like extravagant. Well, some might think, I think it's quite luxurious to, surf in the mornings and, simple things.
I I I'm obsessed. I think I just need my life to simplify slightly, but so many people think I'm a manifester. I'm actually a mental projector. So I'm always like taking everyone's feelings and I have to verbalize everything out. Hence the reason we have a whole podcast.
Mm,
But it's so interesting to what I do hear manifestors talk about what they do. And then I'm like, oh, I get why people think I am one. It was like, but if you spend enough
mm-hmm,
time with me, then it's very clear that I'm not. But
right.
I'm always just intrigued. I'm like, oh, I see it. Still not
Mm-hmm.
right though for me. Because I
Yeah.
definitely am somebody who has to like talk out what they're thinking. I don't need anybody to talk back. I just need to be able to talk. And then all of a sudden I'm like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
solved it. And like go back. And I do have a short battery. I am the queen of naps. Okay. I am the
Okay.
queen
Yeah. Oh,
of
but
napping.
manifestors too, like they have the shortest engine, like the energy engine. So we go
Yes.
out like fire, and then we come back in, withdraw. We go out and we withdraw.
I mean,
Yeah.
so yes, we're very similar in that way. And it's beautiful. We get a lot
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. As long as you know how you're meant to operate, that's why it's a design, your
Yeah.
unique design, then it helps you, to do anything. Like now I give myself permission. Now it makes sense why I constantly want to create new things, because that's how I operate. That's my design.
You're like, this is what's supposed to happen. And
Yeah. And it's not like a question of like, what's wrong with me? Why do I have to start a new thing? Because I'm meant to.
you're like, I'm the one who's supposed to start it. Somebody else is supposed to like keep it going. And it's totally okay. I'm the one who's meant to listen, hear, feel, and sort it. I'm the sorter
Hmm.
of our parties.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the one who usually can like find the thing wrong very quickly and be like, it's right there.
Yeah, yeah,
Moving
yeah.
on.
You have to be between the manifestor and generator always, like in the middle there.
Yes. It's a very interesting place to be. So
Yeah.
if someone is listening, obviously somebody is listening, but if someone listening is standing on the edge of their own Luxe Leap, what advice would you give them?
To believe in themselves, to not pick the thing that they want to do for the wrong reasons. And again, going back to spirituality, I believe that all of us here are unique, and there's a thing that we are meant to do, and there's a tribe waiting for that thing to happen. And sometimes it might be scary because it might not make sense. You might feel like I need to go that way because that's financially better decision, even though my heart lives here. I would
Yeah.
find a medium, like how can you do the financial first while you make the passion thing happening. But I fully believe it's possible. And belief is the foundation of everything. You need to believe that you can do whatever that thing is. And then everyone's going to hold hands, together for that thing to happen for that person. But then if we kind of looking at tangible ways, if we are talking about solopreneurship or entrepreneurship, then clarity is absolutely the foundational piece, like what it is, who is it for, then finding a structure, because these are not things, by the way, you can bypass. You will come back to them, so why not doing them at the start? Because most people jump from, hey, I want to start a business, I'm going to do marketing. You don't start marketing. That's like a third step in the chain, at least for me. There's clarity first, and there's structure that's holding the thing, and then you can start marketing, and then visibility. It's kind of like a loop. But yeah, believe in yourself, find the structure, like clarity, and go for it.
Just do it. Just go for gold. But I agree. Like if you don't have clarity, you will spend years wondering why things aren't working.
Yeah. And
And
you
we
will
watch happen all
always,
the time.
yeah,
Keep going.
like the regret is not, like, so even if the thing is not going to work out, at least you're never going to be wondering about what if I did, you know? Because the traveling doesn't always work out like the way I have this like imagination that one place is going to be like that. I go there, it doesn't work out. But if I didn't do it, I would never know. And I would always be questioning. And I don't see that as an option. I don't think there's a failure. It's just like always moving forward,
Yeah.
like learning. Yeah.
It's very, very true. So what's next for you? Or what's the next bold move you're making?
Next bold move, probably for next year, I'm going to be creating a group cohort, first one. It's a big leap
No.
for me. Like I've been putting it off for quite some time, but I think it's time I venture in that direction. And also doing a lot more maybe collaborations because
Really?
as a manifester and as a Capricorn, I'm so like solo, like I'm so good on my own. So I feel like I need to challenge myself and like try working with someone else. Yeah. And
That's
next big
fun.
move, more countries.
More countries. I can't wait to
Yeah.
follow up on what countries you're going to be in. Okay, I've got two last questions for you. I did not send them your way. So I've got to know, first and foremost, what does living a luxurious life look like to you?
Oh, simple. It's having freedom to choose what you want to do. Like, so time. So when I wake up in the morning, I can choose if I want to read a book or if I want to do a work for an hour. That's luxury. Luxury is sitting on a Tuesday, 7 a.m., 8 a.m. morning, sitting on a surfboard and watching turtles.
Oh,
um, Having, a good community around, people you can like relate, um, nurturing, self-developing yourself. That's luxury for me. Keep growing. Yeah, keep expanding. Yeah, these are like, I'm like the eternal student. For me, it's super important to like keep evolving, like, and then everything else is like a benefit.
I love that. Just the idea that you have that fluidity to just live is so much more important than money, yachts, and honestly, I don't think I have a lot of people who've ever even said that when I asked that
Mm.
question. I think we are all very much time freedom humans. I clearly
Yeah,
attract a
yeah.
certain kind of person here.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's like the law of attraction, right? I mean, the yacht, like I've seen someone, for example, I had a client that she's in her 60s and she's like doing a lot of yacht with her husband. And that's so beautiful. Like I'm seeing
Yeah.
that. I'm like, oh, that's showing me the image. I would like to do that. I would like to be in a yacht when I'm 60 and read a book, in the middle of the day. But it's like before that, there are some other things, the time.
Yeah.
Like, because if you don't have the time, if you hustle all your life, you miss all of these things. So
It's it's very interesting what some folks think is important versus the women who are primarily on this show. And most of us are very much like, I just want the time to do the things I want to do. It might look different, like yours is surfing and being with turtles at 7 a.m. Mine is to be in bed at 7 a.m. Okay. I'm not
yeah.
as seen today, all of you, she messaged me at 7:30 my time and I responded at 8:30 my time saying I just woke up. Um, to pop on this call. Otherwise, I probably would have slept till 10:30. So, if given the choice, don't mind me.
Yeah.
But it's it's important that we have the ability to move through life the way that it was intended for each of us. And the way we currently live life, I don't know that that's necessarily truth. But last one, best one. In one word, what is your primary motivation in business?
Freedom.
I love it because you
Independence.
started this
Freedom.
with that same word.
Yeah, yeah. It's like it's been a theme throughout my life. I just didn't know, and I'm still exploring what it really means at the core. Because in spirituality, that's an infinite
Mhm.
black hole. You can die, you can go for the rest of your life, you will just be swimming in a black hole. The more you do the work, the more you discover different facets of yourself. And somehow this word freedom has always been like with me, and it keeps changing its shape, feeling, and texture. But yeah.
But it will always remain freedom. If it ever changes, you have to let me know. All
Uh,
right.
yeah, well, I mean, values change. This is kind of like a
Yeah.
current one, you know. Once I've swimmed in that one, maybe it'll be something different.
Oh my goodness. I have just been obsessed with this conversation. Thank you so much, Inga. So, friends listening, if you had as much fun as I did, excuse me, and if today's episode has you rethinking how you're showing up and you're ready for a brand that actually turns heads, I'd love to invite you to book your Brand Muta Brand Breakthrough. It's my video deep dive brand audit that helps you see exactly what's working, what's not, and what needs to shift to attract your champagne clientele. So as per usual, you can grab your spot at graydigitalmktg.co/brandmuta-review. It's also in the show notes. And start turning clarity into confidence, because let's be honest, vanilla opinions don't pop bottles. But if you need more systems, if you need to know what is not working on your damn LinkedIn, if we did not get that point home, and you want to bring in the spirituality piece of it, then please contact my dear friend Inga here. And Inga, tell them, how can they get a hold of you?
I think LinkedIn is the easiest one. Yeah, I'm like that. I'm also on Instagram, but Instagram is more like the spiritual vibes. You know, I don't talk business there.
Oh my goodness, I love it. Well, that's probably where you'll see the sea turtles, everyone. So thank
Yes,
you so
exactly.
much. She's like, yes, they're there. Now you guys are
Yeah.
going to just see sea turtles on all of our posts for a while, and you'll know why. So um, thank you everybody for listening to the Luxe Leap. We're always so grateful, and we will see you next Thursday. Talk soon.